Shabbat Shalom. I am James and this is Grim Survival. I am going to be reading from the Bible today. I'm going to be reading Genesis chapter 6. I did cover Genesis chapter 5 earlier in the week. I don't believe that one day a week is enough. It's definitely not enough for me. I feel convicted to read it as much as possible, and I have been doing so on my own. But I'm also reading it here. These videos are meant for myself personally and for my children to be replayed, especially for the younger one, if in any case I can't. It's just easier to replay a video of me reading it and to pay attention to what they're doing and pause it when they get distracted to get them back on track and things like that. So that was the main reason for this. I'm still very uncomfortable doing it, and I'm wearing this hat for it just so I can see it better. No, the other hat gets in my way really when I'm reading. I'm really not sure if it's disrespectful to wear a hat while you're reading the Bible. Churches have taught me so, but I don't believe anything churches teach. Sorry, but I don't. I don't believe in religion. Today is a holiday throughout the United States. I'm going to tell you just briefly my opinion on that. This holiday is pagan traditions made by men. It has been used for bad things over the years, very bad things, and people use it as a day of dark power. People celebrate death on this day with the costumes and the candy. It's a pagan tradition made by men. That's my opinion. Today is still Saturday, and it is still the Sabbath. Personally, I will not participate in this day. I have not participated in this day for a very long time, and I would definitely not allow my children to participate in this day as long as they live in my house. That being said, I'm going to read starting at chapter 6, Genesis chapter 6. I'm not sure how far I will get in this particular reading, but I will go as long as I feel that I should. And yeah, so chapter 5, Genesis chapter 5 was the genealogy leading us to Noah. And chapter 5, verse 32, the very last verse of that particular chapter, it says, "And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah brought forth Shem, Ham, and Japheth." I am reading from the scriptures. It keeps all the names in its original Hebrew, and I do not speak Hebrew. So if I'm butchering names, I apologize. I will probably butcher names. Just so you know, I'm going to destroy these names, right? You've heard me do it before if you've watched these videos. I'm getting better, I think. I've been reading more, but yeah, I'm procrastinating now. I need to get to this. Alright, Genesis. It's actually Bereshith is what it was originally titled, but we'll stick with Genesis for now. Chapter 6. "And it came to be when men began to increase on the face of the earth that the daughters were born to them, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men, and they were good. And they took wives for themselves of all whom they chose. And Yah said, My spirit shall not strive with man forever. In his going astray, he is flesh, and his days shall be 120 years. So you remember prior to this, people were living 900 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward. When the sons of Elohim came to the daughters of men, they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, the men of name. And Yah saw the wickedness of man, It was great in the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Men were evil. And Yah was sorry that he had made man on earth, and he grieved in his heart. And Yah said, I am going to wipe man whom I have created from the face of the ground, both man and beast, creeping creatures and birds of the heaven, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of Yah. This is the genealogy of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, perfect in his generation. Noah walked with Elohim, and Noah brought forth these sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. It's Y-A-P-H-E-T-H, Japheth. I know no other way to say it, sorry. Verse 11. And the earth was corrupt before Elohim, and the earth was filled with violence. And Elohim looked upon the earth and saw that it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted in their ways on the earth. For all flesh had corrupted their ways on the earth. And Elohim said to Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And see, I am going to destroy them from the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Make rooms in the ark, and cover it inside and outside with a covering. And this is how you are to make it. The length of the ark is 300 cubits, the width is 50 cubits, and the height is 30 cubits. Make a window for the ark, and complete it to a cubit from above. And set the door of the ark in its side. Make it with lower, second, and third decks. And see, I myself, this is Yah talking, I myself am bringing a floodwater on earth, or bringing floodwaters on the earth, to destroy all flesh which is the breath of life from under the heavens. I'll learn to read one day. UPS guy is being very loud outside. All that is on the earth is to die. And I shall establish my covenant with you. And you shall come into the ark, you and your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives with you. And all of the living, all of the flesh, 2 of each, you are to bring into the ark to keep them alive with you, a male and a female. Of the birds after their kind, and of the cattle after their kind, and all of the creeping creatures of the ground after their kind. 2 of each are to come to you, to keep them alive. As for you, take all food that is eaten and gather it to yourself, and it shall be food for you and for them. And Noah did according to all Elohim commanded him, so he did. Just a quick review. The Nephilim. I've read a little bit about the Nephilim. The common consensus is the angels that had fallen from heaven had come down and took wives, and because it was the angels, the men that were born to them were bigger and stronger and faster than normal men. So the stories you hear about people like Achilles and Hercules and the Greek gods may not be very far-fetched if you look at it from that point of view. Those are my opinions only. In 6:18, and I shall establish my covenant with you. The Father has established many covenants throughout this book. I believe a total of 7, if I am not mistaken. I actually have notes on this somewhere. A total of, I believe, 7 covenants, 7 major covenants. The covenant with Noah, or Abraham first, then with Noah, then with Moses, and so on and so forth. So Noah was found righteous and perfect in his generation. Noah walked with Elohim. We remember from the previous chapter 5, Enoch, I believe it was his name, also walked with Elohim, and he never died. That the Father just took him, is what it says. Took him where, it didn't say, but we assume heaven, right? All right, enough reflection. Let's move on. Genesis chapter 7. And Yah said to Noah, "Come into the ark, you and all of your household, because I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. Of all the clean beasts take with you 7 pairs, a male and his female, and of the beasts that are unclean 2, a male and his female. And of the birds of the heavens 7 pairs, male and female, to keep offspring alive on the face of all the earth. For after 7 more days I am sending the rain on the earth, 40 days and 40 nights, and shall wipe from the face of the earth all that stand that I created." And Noah did according to all that Yah commanded him. Now Noah was 600 years old when the floodwaters were on the earth. And Noah and his sons and his wives and his sons' wives went into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Does that mean they waited until it started the flood before they went in? Kind of seems that way. Of the clean beasts and of the beasts that are unclean, and of birds and all that creep on the earth, 2 by 2 they went into the ark, and to Noah, male and female, as Elohim had commanded Noah. Could you imagine just every creature of the earth? Just imagine standing at the door to the giant boat and a lion just strolls past you. I mean, "Hi, Mr. Lion, can I give you pets?" Sorry. Where was I? 10. And it came to be after 7 days that the waters of the flood were on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd new moon, the 2nd month, the 17th day of the new moon, on that day all of the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of the heavens were opened. And the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On that same day Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of the sons of them, went into the ark. They and every life form after its kind, and every beast after its kind, and every creeping creature that creeps on the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, every bird of every wing. And they went into the ark to Noah 2 by 2, of all the flesh in which is the breath of life. And those going in, male and female of all flesh, went in as Elohim had commanded, and Yah shut him in. The Father shut the door on the ark. And the flood was on the earth 40 days, and the waters increased and lifted up the ark. And it rose high above the earth, and the waters were mighty and greatly increased on the earth. And the ark moved about on the surface of the waters. And the waters were exceedingly mighty on the earth, and all the high mountains under all the heavens were covered. The waters became mighty, 15 cubits upward, and the mountains were covered. And all flesh died, the creeping creatures on the earth, birds and cattle, and beasts of every swarming creature that swarms on the earth, and all of mankind. All in whose nostrils was the breath of the Spirit of life, all that was on the dry land died. So he wiped off all that stands, which were on the face of the ground, both man and beast, creeping creature, and the birds of the heavens. And they were wiped off from the earth, and only Noah was left, and those with him in the ark. And the waters were mighty on the earth 115 days. So to review, The rain came for 40 days and 40 nights, but they were in the ark a lot longer than 40 days and 40 nights. The flood waters stayed 150 days, as it just said. The waters were mighty on the earth 150 days. So he left the waters here a lot longer than the 40 days and 40 nights just to make sure, right? Just to make sure that nothing got through. Now we can talk about science for a minute. You got to think of the genealogy and do the math on the thousands of years that went from the start of man to Noah. There's proof on the earth of a great flood. Science will agree with this. There's proof on the three great pyramids of Egypt. So you got to imagine there were thousands of years before those before the flood of lots of people. So it is my belief that the pyramids were built before the flood. That is my personal belief. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm going to continue with 8. If you're reading out of the scriptures, this is page 7. And Elohim remembered Noah, and all the beasts and all the cattle that were with him in the ark. And Elohim made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters subsided. And the fountains of the deep and the windows of the heavens were stopped, and the rain from the heavens was withheld. And the waters receded steadily from the earth. And at the end of 150 days the waters diminished. So the waters were mighty for 150 days and then took another 150 days to diminish. That is 300 days, almost a year in the boat right there. And in the 7th new moon, the 17th day of the new moon, the ark rested on the mountains of Ararat. And the waters decreased steadily until the 10th new moon. In the 10th new moon, on the first day of the new moon, the tops of the mountains became visible. So we're talking over a year now they've been in this ark. And it came to be at the end of 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made. And he sent out a raven, which kept going and turning back until the waters had dried up from the earth. And he sent out a dove from him to see if the waters had receded from the face of the ground. You could see the mountaintops, but there was still water, so he's waiting to make sure it's safe. But the dove found no resting place for its feet and returned into the ark to him, for the waters were on the face of all the earth. So he put out his hand and took it, and pulled it into the ark to himself. And he waited yet another 7 days, and again he sent the dove out from the ark. And the dove came to him in the evening, and see, a freshly plucked olive leaf was in his mouth. And Noah knew that the waters had receded from the earth. And he waited yet another 7 days, and sent out the dove, which did not return to him again. And it came to be in the 601st year of the first new moon, the first day of the new moon, that waters were dried up from the earth. And Noah removed the covering of the ark, and looked, and saw the surface of the ground was dry. And the second new moon, on the 27th day of the new moon, the earth was dry. And Elohim spoke to Noah, saying, Go out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons sons' wives with you. Bring out with you every life form and all flesh that is with you, the birds of birds, of cattle, and all creeping creatures, the creeping creatures on the earth, and let them teem on the earth, and bear and increase on the earth. So Noah went out and and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him, every beast, every creeping creature, and every bird, whatever creeps on the earth, according to their kind. They went out from the ark. And Noah built a slaughter place to Yah, and took of every clean beast, of every clean bird, and offered ascending offerings on the slaughter place. And Yah smelled a soothing fragrance, and Yah said in his heart, Never again shall I curse the ground because of man, although the inclination of man's heart is evil from his youth, and never again strike all living creatures as I have done. As long as the earth remains, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. So I didn't do the math on it, but Noah was in that boat for at least a year, right? At least. The common consensus is 40 days, 40 nights, and then he goes back to doing his normal things. No. See, Noah was in that boat for over a year. The rain was 40 days and 40 nights. The water was 150 days. It took 150 days for the water to subside. And then he waited more months just to, until the dove didn't come back. Several more months, right? So, right. Okay. We're leaving off at Genesis 8, and we will start back at Genesis 9. I hope to do this twice a week. I'm going to try to do it again in the middle of the week. I am reading from the scriptures. I suggest you follow along. You can get the scriptures on Bible.com. You can read it there for free. Or you can go to the Institute for Scripture Research, which is a South African company, and purchase one of these for yourself. I've also found them on eBay. I believe you can find them on Amazon, but personally I would support the company that did this. They did good work. This is not a good day for Christians, this particular holiday. It is the worship of death. Death was defeated by our Savior and Messiah. He took the keys away. He has the key to life and death. Yeshua, commonly known as Jesus, he has the keys to death. He has defeated it. To celebrate that seems very wrong to me. And alright, this has been James. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you next time.